The air hung heavy and silent in the science lab. The room was filled with rows of unused equipment, each piece covered in a thin layer of dust, as if it hadn't been touched in years. The atmosphere was thick with an unspoken history, secrets waiting to be uncovered. Only the faint hum of the fluorescent lights dared to break the eerie silence. The lights flickered intermittently, casting an unsettling glow that made the shadows dance on the walls. Two friends, Max and Lily, tiptoed inside. Their hearts pounded in their chests, each beat echoing in their ears like a drum. They'd heard rumors about this place, whispers of strange experiments and forbidden knowledge. "We shouldn't be here," Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for any sign of danger. She had always been the cautious one, the voice of reason in their adventures. Max, always the daredevil, just grinned. His eyes sparkled with excitement and mischief. "Come on, Lily," he said. "Where's your sense of adventure?" He pointed towards a glass vial, glowing faintly under the dim light. The vial seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, drawing them in like a moth to a flame. It sat at the back of the lab, labeled simply Experiment Z. The label was old and faded, but the words were still legible, hinting at the mysteries contained within. Curiosity bubbled inside Max. He couldn't resist the urge to get a closer look. The possibilities of what the vial could contain raced through his mind, each more fantastical than the last. They crept towards the table, each step echoing in the silent lab. The closer they got, the more they could feel the vial's strange energy, almost as if it was alive. As they got closer, the strange glow intensified, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The room seemed to come alive with the light, the shadows moving as if they had a life of their own. Max and Lily exchanged a nervous glance, knowing they were on the brink of discovering something extraordinary. Max reached out and touched the vial. He had always been curious, always wanting to explore the unknown. The dimly lit lab was filled with mysterious objects, but this vial caught his attention the most. It seemed to glow faintly, almost calling out to him. Cold glass sent shivers down his spine. The sensation was almost electric, a stark contrast to the warmth of his curiosity. He hesitated for a moment, feeling the chill seep into his bones. "Don't," Lily whispered, but it was too late. Her voice was filled with urgency and fear, a stark warning that Max failed to heed. She had seen the vial before, knew its dangers, but Max's curiosity had already taken over. The vial slipped from Max's grasp. It hit the floor with a sickening crunch, the sound amplified in the stillness. The liquid inside began to spread, a dark stain on the pristine lab floor. Lily gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Her eyes widened in horror as she watched the liquid spread, knowing the consequences of their actions. A strange green gas hissed from the shattered vial, spreading quickly across the floor. The gas seemed almost alive, moving with a purpose, filling the room with a toxic haze. The lights flickered and died, plunging the lab into darkness. The sudden loss of light added to the growing sense of panic, making the situation even more dire. The air grew thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. Each breath was a struggle, the toxic gas filling their lungs and making their eyes water. Coughing, Max and Lily stumbled back, fear gripping their hearts. They knew they had to get out, but the thick gas and darkness made it almost impossible to see. Their only hope was to find the exit before it was too late. The next morning, the school buzzed with excitement for the upcoming basketball game. Students filled the hallways, their chatter echoing off the walls. The air was thick with anticipation, and everyone seemed to be in high spirits, discussing strategies and cheering for their favorite players, but a strange illness spread through the hallways, starting with a cough. It was subtle at first, just a few students here and there, but soon it became impossible to ignore. The once lively corridors were now filled with the sound of coughing and sneezing as more and more students began to fall ill. Then came the fever, burning hot and relentless. Faces flushed with heat and beads of sweat formed on foreheads. Students could be seen pressing the backs of their hands to their foreheads, trying to find some relief from the intense heat that seemed to consume them. One by one, students started to change. Confusion and pain were etched on their faces as their bodies began to betray them. It was as if the illness was not just making them sick, but transforming them into something else entirely. Their eyes turned a chilling green, their skin stretched thin, revealing pulsing veins beneath. The transformation was both horrifying and mesmerizing, as if some dark magic was at work, altering their very essence. Their bodies contorted, growing larger, their screams echoing through the school. The once familiar faces of friends and classmates were now twisted in agony, their bodies expanding and changing in ways that defied explanation. Max and Lily watched in horror as their friends transformed into monstrous versions of themselves. They could hardly believe their eyes, as the people they had known for years were now unrecognizable, their humanity slipping away with each passing moment. Their playful smiles replaced with grotesque grins, their gentle touches now deadly blows. The transformation was complete, and the school was no longer a place of learning and friendship, but a battleground of survival. The school, once a place of laughter and learning, became a hunting ground. The transformed students, driven by an insatiable hunger, roamed the halls, their guttural growls echoing like thunder. Panic seized Max and Lily. They were trapped in a nightmare. They knew they had to escape, to find a way to fight back, to survive. "We need weapons!" Max yelled over the deafening roar of the infected. Their eyes darted around, searching for anything that could be used to defend themselves. They barricaded themselves in the library, the heavy wooden door their only protection from the creatures outside. Bookshelves became their walls, dictionaries their shields. Lily found an old fire axe, its blade dulled with time, but still a weapon in her trembling hands. Max, his eyes filled with a desperate hope, discovered a box of old flares. Maybe, just maybe, they could use them to signal for help, but as the hours ticked by and the roars outside grew louder, a terrifying truth settled in. There might be no escape.